So, we talked about the importance of the C-suite, ensuring that strategy is well defined, communicated, and metrics are sent. We're going to talk more about the metrics, right? The other important part of that bookend, or the other bookend, is measuring the results, right? Now,
Yes.
we've all heard the analogy of the business case is created to get the project funded or the initiative funded, and then filed in the bottom drawer, never to see the light of day again. But why is it that you think organizations struggle to track the value, right, of the initiatives being proposed?
My first spontaneous reaction is because then you see the crude reality sometimes, right? And sometimes that's a bit difficult, and we better hide those reality. But jokes aside, first I've seen also many teams that they have good project managers, they have this mindset of execution, but then still they focus on very simple things about how well we are executing, and but at the end they finish the project, they finish the initiative, and they close. But many times when you close the project is when you really need to start measuring the value realization, because you had a baseline, and is when you are starting having all those on a sustaining mode of the project that you need to start putting the efforts to measure and to correct the course of action and already to implement the learnings in the same project, not in future projects, but in the same project. And that sometimes it gives you already some upsides on the value realization. Another important point is that when we talk about value, it's something that sometimes may become abstract and may mean different things to many different people. And to me, in my experience, the closer you get to the business and to the people, the closer that you get to really understand what means value creation for that business. So the magic occurs there, but basically we're able to create some value, that we're able to create it for some specific clients or customers that they are willing to pay for that, and we're able then to capture the value in return and to get paid for that. So that requires an understanding on the machinery, on how your particular industry, how your particular company has decided through your business model to create that value, to deliver and to capture that value. So it requires a bit of understanding of, this is the magic, I call it the magic, right? The virtuous cycle. What is the magic of my company? And is by doing that that you start understanding what are really the value contribution that you can truly create through these projects and initiatives. And then it's about, well, based on this baseline, what I'm trying to improve here, what I'm trying to impact is about driving growth, is about driving sales, is about having better margins, is about diversification of my portfolio, is about reducing complexity and simplicity. If those are the endpoints, these are the truly the KPIs that are really impactful and will make the difference. And in many times, in my experience, not always, but in many times, this value you should be seen reflected in a specific line of your P&L. So when you look at your P&L and L and you understand your cost structure and your ability to generate investments and then create value, that somehow needs to be appear in your P&Ls and your books. And basically, when we talk about creating value, is which are these different elements of my P&L I'm trying to move, to contribute, and to impact. And it's not about I've made 100% of the actions on time. It's about, even this is about having growth, well, then let's look at this metric in my P&L. If this is about creating profitability, then let's look at how the margins are improving. If this is about having a simplification of my portfolio, then let's look at the total delivery cost and the overheads and so on and so forth. So I think that having an understanding and how the specific industry, how the specific business has decided to generate value through a specific business model and the P&L are important elements to then assign some metrics and how we will be measuring value. In other words, what are the expectations of the businessmen, of the owners of the business, that how those projects and initiatives should contribute to generate more value to the business. And if you have questions, if anyone has questions, just go and ask. Ask to the P&L owner, ask to the owner of the people that put the resources and the money, and they will tell you straight away. So if someone is not clear about that, no worries. In the companies, we also have people that they know perfectly about that. So sometimes it's not only about being super genius, but also just asking your neighbor, and you may get the proper answer. So I think that that's where we struggle sometimes, that still we have a very siloed vision on what we're executing from a functional level. And we need to look at it transversally and say, well, all what I'm doing at the end together with this bunch of people together is to impact which line of my P&L, how this will impact my business model, and how I'm turning inputs into outcomes and value for the business at the end.